Here's another quick update video on what I got going on. I'm running the wireless power system mixed with the energy harvesting system off of just a little DC power supply now. This is a better one I got for experimenting. This one can go up to 24 volts at 3 amps, and I believe it's 70 watts at most. So I can really experiment with this system and see the best. But I'm playing with it on very little power levels, so I'll turn it up to the point where it just activates. So I'm at 7 volts. It seems to activate. Okay. Activates at just about 9 volts. I have wireless ignition, and the range is stunning. That's a 120 volt light bulb here. I can unplug it. I can just pick it up and walk away with it. It's the hollow tube. I did make an improvement. I connected the bottom of the secondary coil to the negative DC end on the output of the diodes. But yeah, as you can see, this primary coil here can be removed. I actually have another one right here. So this is one I was playing with. This primary would just go over the top of the orange, which is the secondary. And I found the equation for the best wireless power transfer possible in that old electrical textbook. It's the Electrical Engineerings of Tesla and Steinmetz was the book cover, I believe. And it said any conductor of wireless power for the best efficiency should be 1/3 wide as it is long. So I made this primary 1.3 inches in length, and the secondary, which is the orange, is 4 inches in length. And that really seems to have done the trick. Also, I made a top load exactly 1.3 inches in length. So it's the exact length of the primary. It almost doesn't look it, but it is, because the primary starts here and ends here, and it is 1.3 inches. And if you put this on top of the transmitter, there will be a small charge. You can see a small spark come off it. I might have to turn it up a bit to show that. So I turned it up to 17, and you should see a small spark. Yep, you can see it coming off onto my hand. Bit of a spark. So yeah, I just wanted to show the extreme range with this. It got even simpler. Like when my amplifier broke, when my signal generator and amplifier broke, I thought I was screwed and I'd be months behind in the progress, but it ended up being the best thing that happened, because I figured out how to simplify the system even more, and I can even get more power out of it. So here's one of the receivers, perfectly tuned. I'll do an output reading on it. And everything gets turned to DC. So the receiver is getting 146 volts DC, and my current is 200. I've seen that go up to anywhere from 200 milliamps to half an amp. And keep in mind, I'm getting that kind of dead short current DC, like it's rectified to pure DC. And the way you measure DC is volts times current equals your output in watts. And if you have AC, you do volts times current times time. But I don't have AC. I'm turning radio frequency into pure DC. So my equation for calculating power would be volts times current, would be just volts times current is watts out. So, and keep in mind that that's dead short current on the receiver, 230 milliamps, while I still have wireless power. Like there's no load on the transmitter. That's what the remarkable thing is. That's a big breakthrough there, and I can get such extreme range with it. And if I ground another receiver, it'll light up too. Like my finger's acting as a ground. If I were to ground this receiver, it would light up even brighter than that. And I could probably show that by just clipping the lead here to act as a ground. Yeah, see, it lights up now. And if I touch the wire, it gets even brighter. Like, this is amazing technology. I think this is the stuff they keep hidden. Like, this wireless transfer technology is over 100% efficient. Like, undoubtedly. So let's get in 250 milliamps, and I'm consuming 3.4 watts. I'm going to try and get this as low as possible. It's just to the point where this transistor activates. Use this as a kind of a reference so I can see what's going on. Okay. I had this under 1 watt of power consumption before. Okay, so the system is activated now. I am using almost 6 volts to drive the primary coil, and I'm consuming 1 watt of power, 1.1 watts. And I'm able to get off the receiver coil 27 milliamps at 104 volts. I'll try and turn it up a bit just to get 120. Okay, that should work. So I turned it up to almost 7 volts, consuming 1.8 watts. It's just running off a little DC power supply plugged into a watt meter so I can see how much power it draws. It's extremely simple. Receiver coil's getting 140 volts. Just to be safe, we'll say it's 138. And our current is 52 milliamps now. And my short circuit current goes up while my draw on the input power side goes down, which is very interesting. So I'm getting short circuit current. I mean, I shouldn't even be getting that type of power, and I also still have wireless. Like, that right there is complete proof of Overunity. And I believe the energy gain is coming from the sun or the environment. And all those people who say free energy is not possible, go running outside with a lightning rod and tell me free energy is not possible. Like, go running outside holding a piece of metal. I mean, come on. The energy's out there. You just gotta tap into it somehow. And I've also run the system off a 9-volt battery before and had it self-looping. When I ran it off the 9-volt battery, it wasn't fully perfected. I couldn't get it charged to the full 9 volts. It would never drop below 6.5 volts or 6.2. It would kind of keep itself charged up to around 6.2, 6.5. And the system was self-running, but it was very weak. And I could only run, I think, those 3 lights over there. So yeah, I was able to I had these 3 lights going, running off just a 9-volt battery, while I also powered up this receiver coil. And this receiver coil was plugged into the battery to self-charge it. And it was working. It was just too weak for my taste. I might get a 12-volt battery or a 16-volt battery. Maybe with like a potentiometer. But yeah, I'm finally making a long video explaining what's going on. It's overdue. This technology is all open source to the public. Like, I never hide anything. It's overdue all this tech comes out to the public. I'm sorry if I'm talking a little fast. I'm kind of doing a last-minute video and I gotta go to work soon, but I figured I'd just throw this out there and upload it before I go to work. You can see how sensitive to tuning it is. It's actually, the system now is more efficient than the old amplifier I had, because it's just driven by 1 transistor. All it is a Slayer exciter circuit, and I use the 1N4148 diodes to amplify the signal. And my transistor is a tip 41C. So far, I'm going to get an even bigger and more powerful one. I tried tip 31C. those failed. They kept heating up and blowing up no matter the resistor value I put on there. It wouldn't work. So I had the equation to calculate the exact resistor value I needed for this transistor. I put it on there. I believe this one is 68K. The transistor is acting just as a switch, and you pump in a bit of current to the primary, the transistor fires, acts as a switch, and your frequency will be anywhere from 2.4 to 3.2 megahertz, depending on how much you slide the primary coil up or down to get it tuned. And the same thing on a receiver, you can vary your frequency by sliding it up or down. But whatever your broadcast frequency is what you'll generally be picking up from your receivers. Give or take a little bit of a variation, not too much. Because the signal is not the same as the broadcast. You can interpret the signal in many different ways and tune it and do different things with it. Yeah, a lot of these breakthroughs came from reading old electrical textbooks on Audible and Archive. A lot of Ken Wheeler's work helped out a bit with his magnetism, his old magnetism book. I listened to some of that on Audible. That helped tremendously. I really do think he's correct on a lot of things, possibly all of the things he says. I've watched a few Eric Dollard lectures. Those helped a lot. Basically, I think most of our understanding of electrical engineering is either half complete or partially wrong. And I'm kind of on the fence if electrons even exist. I think they're just used as a unit of measurement, but who knows? I mean, the fact that this is all an air core system, and it's over 100% efficient. Like, I've proven that undoubtedly. It's over 100% efficient. Let me see if I can demonstrate the incredible range. I mean, look at that. You get things perfectly tuned, and it's like the magic just happens. About 4 feet away, and it's still lit. My best range record was almost 20 feet, and that's when I had the amplifier and my signal generator, and I was able to fine-tune everything. But I definitely think this now has much better potential than the signal gen and amplifier. It's simpler, it's cheaper. The most expensive component is a big transistor, which is like $4 or $5 for a big transistor, and it beats hundreds of bucks for that fancy lab equipment, and it's simpler, better, and it seems to be more efficient. A lot less heat. Yeah, 1.2 watts. And I'm running all that? Something doesn't add up. I'm running all that while getting 50 milliamps of short circuit current, or 48, at 141 volts. Now, if you do 140 times you do 140 times 50 milliamps, or we'll just play it safe and say 48. That's your output power. So 148 times, I don't have my calculator on me because I'm doing this one-handed and doing the video. I'm horrible at math. Like, I can figure out equations and everything, and I'm slow at it because you need to do like basic algebra for all this electrical engineering. I'm slow at math, but I can figure it out. So yeah, you do 140 times 48 milliamps, and that's the power in DC. And I know it's definitely over 1 watt. And it's like, boom, magic occurs. You get everything just tuned right. I want my power draw as low as possible. Two watts. And and look at the range. And it also gives out more power when I ground it. So like if I ground a receiver while it's running a load, it increases in brightness. You can see that. And yeah, my channel features no form of trickery, no form of bullshit, no form of time wasting. I don't really suffer fools well. I don't have patience for it. I'm too busy working with the price of everything, how crazy things are, with the economy collapsing, the world going to shit. Too busy working in this farmhouse. It's a beautiful place. I've got like 3 jobs. I do a farm, sell the produce, work at a tech warehouse where I actually was exposed to some of this classified technology. I heard rumors about it from people I work with. Basically, I worked at a tech warehouse in Holden, and I did warehouse work there. I still work there, and I'm surprised I actually haven't gotten fired yet for this for all these YouTube videos of the technology I research. Some of the ideas are based off of things I've seen at that tech place and heard from people I work with. I've never personally got to mess with any of the stuff they have there. I just heard from people higher up in the company that these types of technologies exist. They're definitely free energy, and the power is actually being manifest either from the environment or it's coming from another dimension, I believe. It could be the dimension of counter space, but nobody really knows. Nobody truly knows. And I don't think anyone has a full, concrete understanding of electrical energy. I mean, energy hasn't even been defined yet, the definition of energy. Fields, science can't even still define a field. And I'm sorry for all the talking, I'm just making a lot of points clear. Yeah, this channel features no form of trickery, no time wasting, no free energy bullshit. I don't have the time for it, don't have the patience. As you can see, everything's plugged into the watt meter, the DC power supply, the little mini one, plugged into a watt meter, drawing 2 watts. I unplug it, everything will go out. Kind of flickers for a minute, which is interesting. I think this has capacitors built in, but yeah, it's unplugged, it's out, drawing 0 watts. This is the transmitter, it's the hollow tube, this is the circuit. I have this on a huge heat sink to protect the transistor. There's no hidden batteries anywhere. It's a solid metal heat sink. It's the transistor, it'll say tip. It says tip 41C, but it won't focus. It's a tip 41C. Anyway, I'm stressing over nuances. Also, I'm sorry if I sound like I'm in a bad mood. I'm not really in a bad mood. I just don't really have much patience for fools lately, and I'm kind of overworked at the moment. And yeah, the way you hook up to this is your negative rail would be coming off the emitter of the transistor, and you power up the positive of the DC to through a resistor, of course, to the base of the collector. Alright, something weird was going on, but I fixed it. Something was touching. I was playing with different resistors. I should probably put a potentiometer here for perfect tuning, but it's not needed. Had some room upgrades going on. Bought this huge shelf. That came in handy. Still got to do a little cleaning, but things are getting there. Let me turn that off. This is going on a long video, but it's worth it. I swear, I do one of these videos, my room's always a complete mess. It does get clean at times, I'm telling you. So yeah, everything's off now. It's all just hollow tubes. You can see how the receivers, you can play around with them. Different receiver coil configurations. This is just 8 gauge wire, and all your coils have to be wound in the same direction, or they will be out of phase and not work. If you want to replicate this, you need to do everything exactly as I say, or it will not work. I've learned this the hard way from countless amounts of tinkering. A few people tried to replicate it. They used different diodes. You cannot use different diodes. Nothing else will work except for a 1N4148 diode. 1N4148 diodes are what you need. Nothing else will work. There's something magical about those diodes. And I keep knocking stuff down. And then once you do that, you can mess around with things. So if you make a 4-inch secondary coil, you want your primary to be a third wide of that, as it is long. So this is 1.3 inches. I believe I got the equation somewhere. I have to dig it up, but it's a simple equation. I believe you divide it. I really should have that. Hold on, I'm gonna get my notes out. And it says it on my notes. I really should have prepared more for this video. Here it is. Keep this big lab notebook. This is the exact circuit I'm using, except of course I just added more diodes, and they were 1N4148 diodes. That's how I draw my transistors. The other way kind of confused me, the way it was drawn. This was just the equation to find the correct resistor to trigger the base of the transistor and keep it from blowing up. I have a picture. Something else, I believe. That kind of shows what's going on too. So yeah, so you always need the 1N4148 diodes. The capacitors make a big deal too. Ceramic caps work good. This was replaced with just a transistor because the signal gen and amp broke. The system got even simpler. Your output power will not be manifest. Like if you take your voltmeter probes and you probe it right off the raw coils of a pickup coil, like if you were to probe it, if you were to do a power reading and check, like right here on a pickup coil before installing the diodes, you won't get any power, and I'll demonstrate that. If I can do this without knocking it down. So if I connect here right to the raw coil, you won't get any power output at all. And that's where a lot of people went wrong, I think, and that's where a lot of people failed. Is they just put probes on the output of a pickup coil with no diode, and they're like, oh, it doesn't work. Well, the reason it didn't work is because when you put the probes on there, you're detuning it. Oh, and I unplugged this. I have to plug it back in. Okay, DC supplies plugged back in. Systems turned back on. As you can see, there is absolutely no output. No output whatsoever. This is where a lot of people fail, and they don't fully read what I'm saying or what other people are saying. But as you can see, I'm hooked up to the receiver coil's primary, and there is no output. Nothing, because it's detuned. The diodes act as a blocking device and prevent detuning, and I have to be careful because I could shock the shit out of my hand now. I believe the top was negative and the bottom was positive. See, there's the output. This is a full bridge rectifier configuration with additional tuning capacitors. Very simple. You can use online calculators for that. The secondary is 4 inches. The primary is 1.3 inches in length, and I'm talking length like, just lengthwise. Consuming 5.1 watts. I'll consume anywhere from 0.5 watts to 10 watts depending on how well I crank the power or tune it, and there's a million different variables. Yeah, was I going to show anything else? I think I had one more thing to show. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, some other quick notes. Maybe get that in focus. Throw this away. Okay, here's some equations I wanted to show. Yeah, so any transmitter of wireless power should be 1/3 wide as it is long. Example, a 4-inch long secondary coil of 28 or 32 AWG gauge wire should have a primary coil no longer than 1.3 inches. And that was the equation. You do your length of your secondary divided by 3 will give you the length in inches. Or you could do 1/4 the length, which is a little less efficient, but it still works. And you can finer tune it with LCR meters, all that stuff. That's what I wanted to show. So feel free to pause it here if you want. And this is the 8 gauge wire I was using, just speaker wire. Copper clad aluminum, dirt cheap stuff, it works. All these little strands help. I've got this bigger shit over here, but it's hard to work with and there's not much improvement. There's like maybe a 5% improvement when using this. Countless different coil configurations I tried, and I've come to the point where it's just about perfected. And I'll show you something interesting too that'll blow you away. I made this high power 240 volt model, and I'll hook this one up. So what we got going on here is, this is 4 conductor wire. I'm gonna have to draw that out, but it's very simple. So I will connect the power here, and you'll see the reading. I've also connected multiple receiver coils in series and different parallel configurations, and I've gotten anywhere from like 500 volts at half an amp with it, and it blew components, and it was very dangerous. Like, the power is being manifest from somewhere. So I've got 150 volts. Try and get this tuned a bit better. This one did used to output 240 volts. Not sure what happened. But yeah, we got juice, I mean. Like, I can do this. Look at that. Dead short, and it doesn't affect the LEDs at all. I don't know how much more proof of Overunity we need, and it's all from energy harvesting. I'll hook up my really bright light to that. This you have to be careful with. If you make it perfectly tuned and to this style, you can shock the shit out of your hands. There we go. So look at that. All run off a transistor. 16 volts. Power consumption is at 13.7 watts, about 14. That's a lot more than 14 watts, isn't it? I can add this here too and light another bulb. I'll show that. It's really hard to do stuff one-handed. Careful not to shock myself. So I'll hook you up. You might have to move some things around to get it tuned. So that's lighting up. That's lighting up. These are lighting up. I didn't even move anything yet. Assuming 13 watts. Still got the incredible range. How much more proof do we need of free energy? Yep, that's very bright. I can just pick it up and walk away. Put it in range and ba-boom. This technology is simplex. It's pretty simple. You construct it with simple properties kept in mind. Like I said, you follow those rules, you'll be good to go about the 1/4 wavelengths and the construction properties. It's very easy. I'd say a 10-year-old could figure it all out if they had less than a month to train in it all. And again, I'll just pick this receiver up, walk away with it. So basically, when I had it running itself, all I did was I plugged my highest output receiver back into the 9-volt battery, and it ran itself. I showed that in the previous video, and I'm going to be doing a lot more of that. I had like 3 connections coming off the battery. It was getting kind of messy. I need a special kind of connector adapter for it. I've just been really busy working. Got a new shelf. Was still in the middle of redoing my whole room. Oh, this fell. But yeah, sorry this video's going on long. I was overdue to release a long video that explains a lot of things and just completely blows anyone who says Overunity doesn't exist out of the water. Like, I completely demonstrated it, proved it, verified it. It's undeniable, it exists. We created an arch form for power manifestation. It's undeniable, it's true, it's here, it works. I think it's been kept hidden from the public. I know it has. I've seen it where I work too and heard it from people that I work with. They say it exists and that they're not allowed to release it to the public because it would have collapsed the economy overnight. But yeah, people should probably build all this stuff themselves from home from simple components, and I could run anything as long as I want till one of the components fails. I mean, the fact you get this much efficiency should not even be possible. You know what? This video is going on long enough anyway. I will connect the 9-volt battery to it. As you can see, my power supply is not even plugged in. It's moved onto the bed now. It's off. Nothing is energized. Everything's off. And I will connect it via a 9-volt battery. So let's connect right here. It can be a little stubborn at times. I gotta get a proper connector for a 9-volt battery. So get the black. I do things one-handed. So we are connected to the 9-volt battery. I'll energize the system. Whoops, almost made a mistake. Okay. That's right. Oh, boom. Activation. And the 9 volts isn't quite strong enough to drive this bulb too. Oh, whoa, maybe it is. Holy shit, that's new to me too. You learn something new every day. And yeah, I got both these going off a 9-volt battery. And this too. Oh man, and look at this. If you touch the 9-volt, some weird grounding effect occurs and puts it out. Boom, 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 boom. The fact you can do all this with a 9-volt battery should be impossible. And look at the range. Like, holy shit. Now, when I want to have the battery charge itself, I would take this receiver coil, the one that you can just pick up and walk away with. I would connect that receiver coil to the battery, and it would charge itself. And you might have to adjust it around and move it. And you also have to connect the voltmeter to it to see if it's charging or discharging. And that's why there's like 3 connections coming off the battery. Because you got to get things just right, perfect spot, perfectly tuned, and it all works. All off a little 9-volt battery. How insane is that? This might be one of the best free energy videos on YouTube. That's completely 100% real, legit, no bullshit. Based on real science. You can see the engineering equations here. There's nothing hidden under my desk. These are all my tools. I'm going to pick the system up and walk away with it soon in other videos. I'll move that over here. There's nothing under the desk. Everything is all just sitting right here. I'll even move the voltmeter. There's no scamming going on, no bullshit. I'll just boom right off a 9-volt battery. And the battery is going down right now because I don't have it self-looped on itself. I'd have to disconnect this bulb and connect it to the battery, and then it would run itself. And I showed that in the previous video. And I mean, look at that range. Insane. All constructed from simple materials. This is better than any system MIT has or any of the colleges. But then again, they don't really want to research this stuff, so that's why it's all kept hidden. Don't even get me started on what I think about the modern education system of America, or the whole world for that matter. I mean, wow. And I'll even light up a little fluorescent tube too near it. Like, how much crazier can it get? A 9-volt battery can do all that. Should be impossible. Wonder if this still occurs. No, it doesn't. Oh well. Get things just right. It gets very bright. All off a 9-volt battery. I will disconnect. It'll all go out. Lock away my 9-volt battery. That's not even hot. It's cold to the touch. I think the battery is just acting as a catalyst to suck energy from either, like I said, the environment, space, stars. The power could be coming from anywhere. It could even be sucking the power from another dimension. Who knows? I plug this guy in here when I'm not using him, so he's good to go when I want to use him. I can mess with him. I had the system running last night for 2.5 hours, and it just wouldn't shut off. I went to bed. I don't have it running when I go to bed, obviously for safety. And yeah, there's no way that 9-volt battery could have ran this wireless system for 2.5 hours when it was recharging itself. I think I covered everything I wanted to in this video. Like I said, I sound kind of annoyed, but I'm not really annoyed. I'm just kind of overtired working a lot. A lot of people tried to replicate this. They didn't pay attention, follow any of the instructions, and they complained it didn't work. And then there's a lot of people who did replicate it, and it did work, which is great. Like I said, you need to do everything I say exactly. You need those components or it won't work. And you have to construct it to those standards or it won't work. And like I said, you can't take a raw output off the coil. You need the diodes first, the 1N4148 diodes. Everything is just so simple. You know, this video's long. I might actually just move it for the hell of it to show everybody that it's completely portable. It can move. I'll move it over here. That desk's too messy. Where will I move it? I mean, I could move it over here more and run it off the battery. And you can see there's nothing weird going on here. I'll move it here and I'll run it off the battery. You know what? No, I'm going to move it far away because people will be like, you have some hidden transmitter somewhere. Do you see a hidden transmitter anywhere? My room's pretty simple. I'll move it all the way into my kitchen just for the naysayers. With my 9-volt battery in my pocket, a receiver coil. I'll take this guy too. This guy, and we will go for a walk to my kitchen to show it's portable. And all the trolls can wrap their head around this. So now I set it up in my kitchen. Like I said, this is just a heat sink. Put you there. 9-volt battery. Doing things one-handed again. Positive is right here. Negative is right here. System is now running. I'll put a receiver coil near it. And boom, it works. Look at that. explain that. And here's the other one. The range is insane. The sunlight's kind of drowning out the light, but you see that it works. All off a 9-volt battery. Ugh, one of my roommates ate here and didn't clean up. But yeah, here we go. Undeniable. A 9-volt battery should no way in hell be able to run this. All it's doing is acting as a catalyst, and the energy, like I said, is being manifest from the environment or another dimension or who knows, but the energy's there and it's ready to be used. And look at this, I touched the battery, some kind of weird detuning occurs. And as you can see, there's obviously nothing under my kitchen table. Like, I don't know how much more proof people need. I disconnect the battery, it'll all go out. Battery's just a catalyst. But yeah, more to come, good day, and this video is probably going to take a long time to upload with my internet. Yeah, more to come, and cheers, guys. Good luck replicating some of this stuff if you want to.